Hello, my name is Julie and welcome to this presentation of the assignment to the financial analysis project on the Woolworths Group. Woolworths Limited started trading as Woolworths Stupendous Bargain Basement on December the 5th, 1924. The philosophy of founding CEO Percy Christmas at the opening day event was every city needs a Woolworths. Sydney has it now. Every man, woman and child needs a handy place where good things are cheap. This philosophy has been adhered to throughout the history of Woolworths. After purchasing their third store in New Zealand in 1929, they kept growing through the Depression. Throughout the history of Woolworths, it has been instrumental in changing the way people shop and how employees have been treated. In 1939, Woolworths established its own assurance scheme for its employees' retirement and made it retrospective. In 1955, Woolworths was the first to establish self-service stores. In 1957, the establishment of food stores only. Their own equity control laboratory was created in 1964, testing foodstuffs. In 1973, it established its own brand, which was superseded by home brands in 1983, and then Woolworths Select in 2005. Macro Own Brands was established in 2010 to provide a different quality to its Woolworths Select brand. In 1993, when Woolworths was relisted on the stock exchange, 19,000 employees were offered shares as part of the new employee share plan. In 2012, Masters Home Improvement launched the first ever e-commerce store in Australia. There are more than 3,000 stores across Australia and New Zealand, and over 205,000 employees in the Woolworths Group. By 2016, they were providing services for 20 million customers per week and approximately 900 million per year. Financial ratio analysis is the process of calculating financial relationships between the financial statement accounts. There are distinctive financial ratios to analyze different features of a business. These ratios are mathematical indicators that calculate the financial position, performance and cash flows of the business. This helps potential and current investors, creditors and internal company management understand how well a business is performing and what areas need improvement. How well a business is performing is measured by the following areas: profitability, efficiency, liquidity and solvency, and the share market performance. Profitability is the company's capability of generating profits from its operations in excess of its expenses. Profitability ratios reveal the business's degree of success at being profitable. The following occurred between 2015 and 2016. The operating profit margin is an important measurement for potential investors, shareholders, to see how efficiently a company will use their money to create net income. And there was a reduction in Woolworths Group's operating profit margin of $1,237.14 million. Morningstar reporting a decrease in the operating profit margin of 2.72%. The return on equity is likewise an indicator of how successful management is at using its equity to fund operations to grow and develop the company. And there has been a reduction in Woolworths Group's return on equity of $268.51 million. Morningstar reporting a downturn of 33.14%. The return on assets ratio helps management, shareholders and investors determine how good the company is at converting its investments and speculations into profit. There was a decrease in Woolworths Group's return on assets of $0.1801 million. Morningstar reporting a downturn of 13.72% in its return on assets. Now, this downturn in the profit can be attributed to the changes in corporate strategy, the sale of Masters Home Improvement, the changes to the Woolworths-Caltex alliance, whereby Woolworths is no longer recognising transactions from Caltex operated sites, or the income received in relation to the sale of 54 freehold hotel sites in its financial results. slide looks at the profitability from a capital expenditure point of view. Capital expenditure, or CapEx, are funds used by a company to acquire or upgrade its physical assets, like property, industrial buildings, or equipment. CapEx is often used by the company to commence new projects or investments and maintain or increase the capacity of the operation. These expenditures can include everything from repairing a roof to purchasing a piece of equipment or building a brand new factory or store. Operating expenses are shorter-term expenses required to meet the ongoing operational costs of running a business. Unlike capital expenditures, revenue expenses can be fully tax-deducted in the same year in which they occur. So the cash flow to capital expenditures ratio will often fluctuate as businesses go through cycles of large and small capital expenditures. A high multiple is indicative of relative financial strength. If a company has the financial ability to invest in itself through a capital expenditure, it is easier for the company to grow. To the left, Figure 1, is a pictorial representation of the capital expenditures for the financial years 2015 and 2016, and the expected CapEx for 2017. The main reason for such a high percentage in expenditure in IT is the hardware failures as depicted in Figure 2. The expenditure in IT has offset the amount of incidents reported. The main reason for the high percentage in expenditure on renewals and refurbishments is due to its strategy to refresh its stores, especially its W stores. And the percentage reduction in growth is attributed to its sale of Masters Home Improvement and 54 freehold hotels. Efficiency ratio measures how well companies use their assets to create income. Efficiency ratios review the time it takes companies to collect cash from customers or convert inventory into cash sales. These ratios are used by outside investors and creditors looking at the profitability of operations of the company. Management use efficiency ratios to assess how successfully the various resources of the business are managed and to help improve the company as well. Most often, when companies are efficient with their resources, they become profitable. The following occurred between 2015 and 2016. For asset turnover, there has been a decrease in Woolworths Group's asset turnover ratio of 0.1825 million. Morningstar reporting a reduction of 0.07% of asset turnover and an increase in fixed asset turnover of 0.17%. For inventory turnover, there has been a decrease in Woolworths Group's inventory turnover ratio of 0.07 million. Morningstar reporting a reduction in inventory turnover of 0.22%. If the company can't sell these amounts of inventory, it will incur storage costs and other holding costs like security, insurance, and protection of the inventory from damage or theft. Liquid assets are cash or cash equivalents. Liquidity is the liquid assets' availability to pay for short-term operating costs and to meet the current portion of debt. Companies that battle with liquidity usually have a difficulty growing and increasing performance. Creditors and investors usually prefer high liquidity amounts, but extremely high levels of liquidity could mean the company isn't properly investing its resources. Poor liquidity is a sign to investors that the company fails to efficiently and cost-effectively create revenue with their resources to meet its current debt. The following occurred between 2015 and 2016. There's been a decrease in the Woolworths Group's current ratio of 0.18 million. Morningstar reporting an increase of 2.07% of current liabilities. There has been an increase in the Woolworths Group's gearing ratio of 1.89 million. Morningstar reporting an increase of financial leverage of 0.43%. There has been a decrease in the Woolworths Group's asset ratio of 0.0097 million. Morningstar reporting a reduction in the acid test of 0.07%. These ratios indicate that an increase in financial leverage and prediction of greater cash flow. The most commonly used approach to measuring a company's stock or share market performance is to gauge its total returns to shareholders, or TRS, over a period of time. However, this approach has severe limitations because over short periods of time, TRS exhibits changes in expectations about a company's future performance. Companies that consistently meet high performance standards consequently find it hard to supply high TRS because the market may think that management is doing a great job rather than its real financial performance and health. The following occurred between 2015 and 2016. There has been a decrease in the Woolworths Group dividend payout of $941.46 million. Morningstar report that no dividend payout occurred at the end of 2016 compared to an 87.5% in 2015. Investors are particularly interested in this ratio because they want to know if companies are disseminating a reasonable percentage of the company's net income. There has been a decrease in the Woolworths Group's earnings per share of 3.53 million. Morningstar reporting a reduction of 2.68%. Earnings per share help calculate how profitable a company is from a shareholder's perspective. This calculation is heavily influenced by how many shares are outstanding. The cartoon in the corner just depicting that anyone can hold shares. The Woolworths Group has a very good online presence, and the website has many resources available for prospective and current shareholders and creditors, detailing its portfolios and corporate governance. The board releases corporate governance statements annually, detailing the charter that has been adopted. Their agenda to become more transparent is greatly enhanced by the website for the Woolworths Group. Shareholder information for shareholders and employees is readily available, providing a secure login to access their personal Woolworths portfolios. The corporate strategy, detailing their 20 strategies and targets until 2020 for people, planet and prosperity, is available online. Financial reports and webcasts of financial performance are available for current and potential investors, shareholders, creditors, and outlining how Woolworths Group has performed in the past fiscal years, including the sell down of Masters. The Woolworths Group has always throughout its history been in a state of flux, changing to meet its markets and being the forerunner in service areas. With the change in strategy, sale of Masters home improvements, the changes to the Woolworths Caltex alliance, whereby Woolworths is no longer recognising transactions from Caltex operated sites, or the income received in relation to the sale of 54 freehold hotel sites in its financial results, and the growth of people satisfaction ratings after visiting stores and online. It has resulted in an increase in transactions and revenue for the Woolworths Group in the final quarter of 2016. Taking into consideration the sale of Masters stock and the possible sale of EasyBuy, the appointment of the portfolio director in the coming fiscal period, the performance of Woolworths Group is expected to continue to shift in a more profitable direction. The information availability and the business's stability, solvency, liquidity and profitability influences the following recommendations suggested for potential and current creditors, investors and shareholders. It is recommended that those interested parties hold their shares, buy shares and invest in the Woolworths Group.